What's up, everybody? Let's see who all hops on here. We want to work on today. Let's see who all gets in here. What's up, Mule Power Forge? So what's your name? What's up, DL? What's up, Craig? I think we're going to clean up this profile today. So that's what we worked on yesterday. Now that y'all can actually see it and I can hold it and it's not like super hot. So full handle knife there. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do tonight is clean up the profile and then go ahead and grind the bevels on it so we can actually see what it's going to look like. I do have like some neighbors doing something back off over here, so we'll see how that goes. So your name's Ian. Cool. What's up, Jason? And other Jason. So Nug is your name? Has nothing to do with me. I was gonna ask that. Let's go ahead and get the bay door or the doors open here. I don't know what people are doing next to here, so if y'all hear random stuff, don't worry. When we start grinding, it's not gonna matter. You can't hear them anyways. Let's see here. I am so ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow it is supposed to be like 64 degrees here. It was 90 today. It's supposed to be like 64. It's gonna be so nice. What's up, the best life? So Nugent is your name. Nugent is your. That's cool. Like Ted. Okay. Pull you over here. I gotta be careful with where I put the phone here because we're on the old Wi-Fi. What's up, Merle? I did get everybody who was been emailing me. I got all the messages, and for some reason it was sending every like personal email straight to my spam. So where am I at? I'm in a place called Wichita Falls, Texas. So a lot of people have no clue. If you were in the Air Force, you would know where Wichita Falls, Texas is because Shepherd Air Force Base is here, and a lot of the people that go through Air Force training go through Shepherd. So especially if you've ever been like a tech or a mechanic on the jets and all that stuff and the planes, you know, a lot of y'all come through Wichita Falls for your basic and for specialized trainings and stuff like that. Let's go ahead and get this grinder table moved. I don't know if I want to move it all the way out of the shop, just because I want to make sure y'all have light. I need some of those like ring lights that the TikTok girls have. I need some of those things in order to make my life a little bit easier for filming and things like that, doing this. Let me tighten this stuff down here. I'm going to spin y'all around. Okay, there we go. Now we're tight. Hopefully none of y'all got dizzy. So we're going to move this table out here a little bit. What's up, Joseph? It's going pretty good. So, you're moving to Uvalde, Texas. That's cool. Definitely a city that a lot of people know about. police force is awesome. Um, so, out of interest, what time is it? Where everyone was at? That's where you're asking. It's 1:48. Where are you at, Jason? Um, it is. Uh, it's about 7:30 here. How's the leg? I might be able to actually show y'all a little bit better now. It's doing good. A big old scar, and it's still bumped out a little bit. But yeah, that right there is where the old hatchet went into the ankle. For anybody who was wondering about that. But it's doing a lot better. I've been exercising, I've been jogging, and stretching everything out, getting everything moving. It's been a lot better lately. You're a new knife maker in Mineral Wells, Texas. Awesome. That's not far from me. Again, I'm in Wichita Falls. And for people who are wondering where that's at, if you took and you drew a line from Dallas-Fort Worth to Oklahoma City, and you just cut it in half, that's where Wichita Falls is. If we go like 15 minutes north, we cross the Red River and you're in Oklahoma. So we're like South Oklahoma. And if you've ever been in the Army and you had to go through Fort Sills, training, then you know where I'm at too, because we are about 35 minutes from Fort Sill, that's where your Army basic training is. So basically what I'm saying is a lot of retired military live around here. Both Army, Air Force, not so much Navy or anything like that. It's mostly Army and Air Force. And a lot of Marines too. All right. Should be able to have plenty of light right here. So basically what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of work on this right here. Y'all let me know if the signal starts getting spotty or if my mouth's moving and the words aren't matching up with it or something like that, so that I can kind of adjust y'all. As a matter of fact, I could probably put y'all on this side and it would probably work out. Yeah. That's even better for y'all. Let's grab a power cable. What's up from Mound Ridge? So Lance, are you near Steve? Are y'all like neighbors or something like that? I was kind of putting two and two together there. Because, y'all should probably be close to neighbors, or at least you're in the same city. Fort Hood, Texas. Yep. Showed horses there. That makes sense. We have a big, you gotta think, this is part of Texas is all fields and cows and horses and everything like that. I'm a buddy that he may or may not. Yeah, he mentioned you. I just didn't know your name. So again, this is the knife that we forged last night. The one with the distal taper through the tang, taper all the way through the tip. Again, once you get used to forging something to profile and finish really isn't that complicated. It just takes time to go through and get used to your hammers and get used to what's happening when you're forging and using the right heat. So there's going to be times whenever you're forging to move still, and there's going to be times when you're forging to planish. Once you get used to that, you can get real nice, smooth, straight finishes on things like your tang, your blade, your handle, your bevels will come in nice and clean, things like that. And you can forge a 3-inch piece of knife into an 8-inch knife with a full handle grip. I thought I was going to make just like a little 3-finger knife, But that's a full-blown EDC right there. So this will be good. Basically, all I'm going to be doing is I'm going to go through, I'm going to clean up the profile just a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and grind in some bevels. Because I forged these bevels, I'm going to go ahead and freehand grind them. I'm not going to use my plunge line jig just because it's not going to benefit us that much, because it's only going to pinch a little area here, and I might as well just freehand grind them because this isn't going to take much. And what you'll see me do is I'm going to forge the profile, or not forge it, we already did that. I'm going to grind the profile, and then what I'm going to come in and do is on the belt, imagine let's see the easiest way to show y'all this. Here, I got it. And this is about 2 inches. So we're going to use this. So whenever I'm coming in, and I'm going to center the edge, okay? So before I end up grinding the bevels, I'm going to end up centering the edge. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at a steep angle like that. And I'm going to slant it like this. And I'm just going to center that edge almost as if it was like a chef's knife and I was just trying to grind it smooth. I'm going to be doing that and cleaning it up. That's going to basically let me center that edge. If I'm doing it like this, I have to really pay attention to it by eye. Whenever I'm doing it like this, the belt will almost center it for you and give you a nice straight line. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to grind up from there. That is the plan. It shouldn't be that loud. It doesn't tend to be that loud whenever I'm grinding on the live streams, but if for some reason it is, just make sure you turn your volume down. So I'm going to try and let's bring y'all over here a little bit. So whenever I'm coming in, like I said, I'm going to come in at a steeper angle like this and then pull through, and we're just going to center that edge whenever I get to that point. But for right now, what I need to go ahead and do is just clean up the spine here and then the back side, and then kind of get this inside here a little bit clean. That's what we're going to do real quick. So that right there, all we did was we just removed about a 16th. Well, some areas not even a 16th, but got that going good. One of the things that you'll see that I don't do, so get a little bit of light on here. You can see a little divot right there, little one right here. All that is I can go down further on this grinding wise. Same thing with like, there's one right here, one right here, one right here. I'm not going to get rid of those until I actually go through and profile the handle. So I don't want to make it too small for no reason. So if I was to thin all this out to get rid of all of those, because they're almost non-existent in there. Once, if I just ground a little bit further, it would be clear. But I want to do that after I get the handle material on there, so that as I'm cleaning up the handle, it will by default clean that up, and my handle gets to stay a little bit thicker, as opposed to removing it now and then not having that extra material there later. But we're looking good. Our cutting edge is looking good. It's not going to take much to center that at all. So all we're going to do now is I'm going to go through and I'm going to grind that center of the edge into there, and then I'll go ahead and grind up one set of bevels, and then I'll just mirror it, and I'm going to show you how I actually mirror the side. So it'll give you a real good plunge line to match to the other side the way that I do this, and it'll make it to where you can freehand grind and you're not having to worry about too much. Yeah, I like this profile. It's one of my favorite little simple EDC, just a little hybrid kind of between a drop point and a clip, where the top part kind of comes down a little bit straighter and almost looks like we have a little bit of recurve right here, but it's just the way the blade is. So let's see here. I'm going to read some of these. Do you like the 2x72 grinders that House Made makes? Absolutely. They're awesome. Anyone got some older tools that they would sell for a good deal? Always check Facebook Marketplace for blacksmith tools and knife making tools. Howdy y'all. What's up, Byron? And then look awesome. Keep it up, bud. Is that tapered handle? Yes. So you can see it from here better. So this was one that we forged last night, and it's got a full tapered tang on it. And it's tapered both ways. So it tapers through the tang and through the tip. And of course, it would look thinner right now, but whenever you start grinding on this, it flares out the side. If I was to go through and clean up the sides here, well, I'll show you real quick. There you go. We're not going to have to remove almost any material there. You see where we're grinding right now? Like where it's actually touching the handle all the way around. Late to the party, but you're here. We've only been going for 19 minutes, so you're not super late. But all we have is just a little bit of divots towards the center of it. It's not going to take much to clean that up. But yeah, we went ahead and forged a double distal, so through the tip and everything like that, and then all the way through the tang. Steve, I can speak for Steve and I when I say you're a machinist by trade, so we made almost, yeah, and I'm happy to be getting one of y'all's tools too. Let's see here. What kind of steel are you using? This is a 80 CRV2. We forged this last night out of a piece of 3-inch cutoff from another blade that I was working on. So I had just a little piece that tapered almost like a tooth. That was about 3 inches long, and we were able to forge it into a full-blown, full-size EDC. So definitely pretty cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead, make sure we have a centered edge just by coming in here, like I said, like this. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be coming in right at the heel here and hanging that off the edge, center it up both sides, and then we'll grind in some bevels. Now we got a nice centered edge on there, and that's going to come out real nice on there. Just want to make sure. Getting better light here. Actually going to shift that over to now we're looking good. So let's see here. What's up, Duck Rabbit Forging? How you doing? If you ever need help in the shop, let me know. Can always use help, man. I've got. Whew. I'm not looking forward to the amount of hand sanding that I'm going to be doing here soon. So I've got up here. I'm going to flip y'all around here. Between the stack of knives on the wall here and all the ones that are right over here, there is 25 knives. 2 pieces of Damascus right there that are going to be made into knives. But there's 25 knives. Now, of course, luckily, the 5 that are right here and the 6 that are over here are already sanded. But that's only 11 of the 25. You know? But you got to get your website full. If your website's not full of merchandise, then are you planning on selling things to get all those Christmas sales, man? You gotta have it. I hate to say this, but I don't think the job hunt thing is appropriate here. Maybe a personal message. That's true. And plus, if you do ever want to come here and help out and learn some stuff, I'm always down for that too. Okay, so now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to grind this side first. And y'all know me, I'm a little bit different than most people that do a lot of these things. I do not do a ton of what we would call 90-degree plunges. Almost all my plunges come at an angle and flow with the blade. You'll see that on a lot of my knives. Grab one real quick. So a lot of my knives have a plunge that angles and flows with the knife versus one that is a 90 and then goes up. I'm going to be doing the same thing with this one right here. I'm really big on how blades flow and the art of it. Now, I am going to be hanging my belt off about 1/8 of an inch off the side of the platen. It's just going to make it to where everything, has a little bit of room to flex. These belts don't flex much, but it gives it a little something. Something I need to mention real quick, these are only going to be pre-heat treat bevels, so we're only going to be coming up to about half of the blade. I'll grind the rest of them after heat treat. I like to leave a whole bunch of meat right here so that if I need to straighten it with the straightening hammer, I can do that and put the little dents inside here and then grind them the rest of the way out. Now, because these bevels were forged, there's not much that I have to do to remove material throughout here. It's already thin enough, but I am going to end up bringing this section right here up. I'll tell you, if you're forging a knife and you're trying to have a super crisp line transition between the bevels and the flats, you're not really going to get that unless you go through and you stock removal the whole entire sides and get rid of the forge texture. This, of course, is going to have a brute to forge finish in the ricasso and the flats. So it's going to have a cool transition from the flats down into the bevels. But for this, I'm going to end up bringing this section up right here. And all I'm going to be doing to do that is just focus on this area. And I'm going to be coming in here, and I'm going to be, as I get to the tip, pulling the end of the tang out and kind of rocking it like this. This is an over-exaggeration, but it is going to be slightly rocked. That way we can focus on this area and get it brought up, because we're almost where I want to be at the ricasso area, or the plunge line area right here. We're just going to go up just a hair more and then flow this up just like that. So where this little line is, that's what's going to happen with it. Then we're going to match it on the other side, and I'm going to show you how we match it. How long does it take you to build your shop? So it took me, I've got it all up on YouTube. So I have all of the videos actually up for building this, but it only took me a couple months to build everything. The rest of the time was just getting everything set up how I wanted it, getting all my shelves up, going through, getting everything loaded up on here, getting all the stuff organized, workbench, all of the other shelves and everything, and building the belt wall and all that stuff. So it was just getting all that stuff all set up. That took a little while, but really, when it comes to the build of the shop, wasn't that bad. And it's not fully done. So where this doorway is right now, there is an 8 foot from this wall, from the outside of this wall to the end of the pads, 8 feet, and it's 14 feet wide. That's going to be a grinding room. I'm going to close it in. I was just going to put a awning off the front, but I'm going to go ahead and close it in and put a bay door on the front of the pad, which is on the same side that my main door is. There's going to be a bay door on the other side of this wall that rolls up, and that's basically what I'm going to have on the other side of this wall. And I'm going to have a door, dust collection system, all that. As I'm stepping more into the production side of this, to where I'm also doing my custom builds, but I'm doing a lot of 6 knives at a time, 10 knives at a time. Having a dedicated grinding room is going to be a must. Yeah, man, I saw that sanding machine that Schraub does, and that's really not a complicated thing to make either. I've thought about doing that. That's where Eric forged the entire full tang. Yep. Most guys will final grind, sand, polish, handles, assemblies. Yep, that's true. But yeah, the whole point behind yesterday was actually y'all participated a lot in that video and helped me kind of decide how I wanted to do this. So the little finger choil area here, that was y'all. The distal taper on the tang, that was y'all. Helping me decide which direction I wanted to go with it. And y'all made some good decisions. So let's go ahead and continue going with this. So that is going to be our preheat treat thickness right there, or preheat treat height on the bevels. And then what I'm going to end up doing is after the heat treat, I'll bring them up to about right here. But that's going to give me this whole entire center section right here to tap on with the straightening hammer if I need to go through and straighten anything, like a warp or anything like that. Just go through, tap right here, get it to where I need it to go, and then I'll grind past that, and I'll just have my nice, clean forged texture. I know it sounds kind of weird that it's clean forged texture, but it will be a clean forged texture with not a whole bunch of straightening dents. So now whenever you're wanting to try and match up one side of bevels to the other side, one plunge line to the other side, this angle right here, it's actually a lot easier than some people think. So when you're using a 36 grit belt, it puts heavy grind lines, like those striations that you see right there. All you're going to do is match up the height of your plunge. So match up where your plunge line is. And then what I would suggest is that you come back about 1/16 of an inch. So whenever I start grinding this, I'm not going to start right here with my plunge. I'm going to start roughly where this is. So it's going to be about 1/16 of an inch off, because what you're going to do is as you're grinding in, it's going to naturally feather that back a little bit. But all we're going to do is just match the striations up to the belt. And when we do that, all we got to do is just come in here, match the striations to the belt, and from that point forward, as we're pulling, it's going to keep this same angled plunge line mirrored to the other side. If that helps. So it's just things you got to think through if you're not using a plunge line jig, is your end result. If you end up, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I got one right here. So these are some blades that a friend of mine sent me to work on. Do you see the difference between this side and this side? What we want to do is make sure that when it's all said and done, that these match going all the way across here, because the fit and finish of your blade really matters with your plunges there. So you need to be guesstimating how much is going to come off as you thin the blade and what you can taper and pull back to. You don't want to leave it like this. You don't want it to be two different heights, because that doesn't lead to a nice finished blade. You want it to be nice and even if you're doing a brute to forge knife. Do you like your plunge lines where the edge starts or where the vertical starts, or does it depend on? It really depends on the knife. So sometimes with the plunge lines, I'll bring them all the way up. I'll show you an example of that. So I've got a bunch of different ones that I do. So this is a plunge that has my R-shaped sharpening choil. So of course my edge is all the way up here. Plunge is all the way back here. That's one of my full-size EDCs with brute to forge, all that stuff. But so I'll have ones that are like that, and then I'll have them like this right here, to where you have this flat area before you get up into your plunge and your bevels. You know, where the edges that come all the way to the heel. So there's going to be different styles that you do things. This one, on the other hand, the way it'll work out is the cutting edge will come almost all the way back to the back here. Now what I'll end up doing is I'll leave just a hair of thickness, and I will do another little taper into the edge so that this point is not sharp, but just right in front of it is. And that'll be how it cleans up and rolls into it. Very, very good description and teaching. Well, thank you, Steve. Have you ever used Scotch-Brite to finish? Yeah. So I'll show you. I've got, to give you an idea how often I use Scotch-Brite pads. I'm going to give you a clear idea. Rough, medium, fine. Big old pads. Yeah, I use the heck out of them. So whenever you look at the finish that's on this, for one, this particular finish is a acid etched. Well, I say acid etched. This is a, see if I can, there we go. This finish that's on here is vinegar soaked and then Scotch-Brite padded. So you can still see a little bit of the striations from the belt. But that right there is Scotch-Brite. It lets you keep these cool, deep divots in the forge texture. But yeah, I use the heck out of Scotch-Brite pads for a lot of my finishes. If you watched the video that I put out yesterday, the one that I put out yesterday about the full Quaken, the X-ray knife that I did that has the X-ray handle, Quaken, and all that. The finish that I put on there, I use a Scotch-Brite pad to do that. And then good finish and still, yeah, I agree. Use them on handles. So I've used Scotch-Brite pads on, if you want to call it whinge or wingay, the whinge wood. If you use a Scotch-Brite pad on them, when you finish them, it pulls some of the grain out and makes a real cool texture on the handle material. If you use a Scotch-Brite pad, after you sand it to whatever you want to sand it to, come back with a Scotch-Brite pad, a medium or a heavier Scotch-Brite pad, and it will pull the grain out and make a real cool texture to that handle. Also on forged to finish to clean it up, nice after the vinegar soak. Absolutely, Scotch-Brite finish after vinegar soak is the way to go. Wawa coffee. See, I don't drink coffee, so I wouldn't know. So I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, match up the striations to the belt, and then we're gonna go ahead and grind this other side. So of course this is a forged knife, so we're doing pretty good height-wise on this, but this side over here, I mean, you can see where the texture is still, but I don't pay a ton of attention to the at forge scale difference. The texture versus where the texture is over here, that's going to be about the same height. So this side right here has a little thicker section in this little area right here. So this side's going to grind up faster. Now, of course, that will all clean up whenever you finish grinding your bevels and you get them all nice and where you want them. This little section right here will be ground out and everything will even up. But right now, we still need to bring that side down a little bit and thin it out a little bit more, and that will even us up the rest of the way. That's one of the things that you're going to have whenever you go through and you forge the texture or you forge the finish. You're going to have things like that because you haven't machined the flats flat. If I took this onto a 2x72 and I ground all this flat, you're going to end up with a real crisp transition line between this bevel and this flat. I don't want that. I want it to look unique and brute to forge, so I'm cool with that. But the end result's going to be what really matters. Right now, though, we need to take some more out of this side over here, and that's going to straighten up everything. So we need to bring this and grind it up a little bit further to match that side. And that's going to get both sides looking real good. And you can see your plunges are matching up nicely to both sides. Okay, so that is just going to be preheat treat right there. And then we'll go ahead and whenever we actually go through and finish it, we're of course going to bring those bevels up all the way up to here, to where it's just a little bit of texture that folds into them. But we're good with that right now. Don't want to go too much further than that because we've got to go ahead and heat treat it. And even though this isn't gonna, it's not a very big blade, so it's not gonna warp much. But we're looking good there. See what y'all been talking about. Isn't hot when I got it, so that's part of it. Okay. All right, guys and dolls, got to cut out. Thank you for being here, Byron. Do you ever use a coal forge, or do you like to stick with gas propane? I use gas propane forge the whole entire time. And then I've never used a coal forge. I've got friends that have them, but I haven't tried them. Very interested in that knife when you get done. Let me know. All right. But it's going to be a good looking piece whenever we get it all said and done. And I love ADC RV2, so this is going to have a good heat treat on it. And we're looking good. It's be a nice overall profile. But we're going to leave it right there for right now. We don't have to be super worried about bevels or anything like that. We just need to be able to make sure that we can forge or straighten with the straightening hammer. Now, again, if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, each time I talk about the whole straightening hammer, I know that they kind of were like a craze on YouTube for a minute, but this right here is a straightening hammer. So this has, it looks like a little tit. It's got a little ball peen hammer with a little carbide bit right here. So all it is just a carbide bearing that's added into the tip of that. And all I do is come in and hammer wherever I need to straighten. And let's say it warped up like this, like it bananaed this way. Most of the time people think that if it's bananaed this way, that you would turn it over and forge the banana flat like that. But what you end up doing is you take it like this, and all you do is you hammer in here, and it stretches the steel all the way out. Coming in here and hammering inside the curve, you'll hammer, and it will actually straighten your blade back out, which is really awesome. This was one that my friend Chip Carlisle sent me. He was trying them out, and he sent me one of these. I've got one that I'm going to be making too for the channel, so y'all can actually see me do that. I'm going to be doing my own version of one. I'm going to show y'all how to do it so that if y'all wanted to repeat it, y'all can. We're going to braze a bearing into one of the hammers and do that. I'm going to show you how that works. New icon looks great. Heck yeah. Saw a lot of those on Instagram lately. Yep. Kyle Daly, good friend of mine. He makes them and he sells them. He sells a lot of really good tools and stuff that help knife makers. So Kyle KH Daly, if y'all need some of those random things like that, hit him up. You can hit him up on Instagram or go to his website, KH Daly Knives. And then he makes them, and Josh, I can't remember his last name, he makes them as well. His are a little bit different. He uses like a tack hammer and goes through. It's a hammer that kind of looks like one of these little hammers that are right here. I've got a lot of hammers. I got mallets, rawhide mallets, dead blows, all that stuff. But I think this is looking good. The next thing to do, of course, is to mark out our pin holes and then drill those. So nice and easy. We'll definitely go through, do the pin holes, and then I'll do probably 3 weight saving holes. I'm not super huge into the whole Swiss cheesing of your tangs. I know a lot of people like doing the whole Swiss cheese tang thing. For me, if I'm going to be drilling holes in them, I'm only going to have maybe a couple weight saving holes in there. That's about it. So the epoxy crosses over, things like that. I'm not going to drill a whole bunch of holes in there. The reason why I say that is not a lot of people are going to be backpacking with your knives. They're not trying to save every single ounce. And if you've ever carried a big knife, carrying something this big that has even a full handle like this with no holes in it, that is super light. Your phone weighs more than what your knife is going to weigh, even without all those weight saving holes. I'm all for the balance on them. So what I'll end up doing is I'll go through and do a couple, because I'm already going to do holes for pins. I'll do a couple weight saving holes here so that once I put my handle on it, I'm compensating for that weight. Your handle material is the lightest part of your blade. So if you just take out enough weight to counteract your weight of your handle scales, you're going to have a perfect balance. So you're going to be fine. That's right, splitting the finger choil with the ricasso right there. So that's all we're looking for. We're not looking for a whole bunch of crazy Swiss cheesing of the handle and all that stuff. It's not necessary. As long as you got a good balance, it won't matter. That's not a trick or anything like that. We do everything so that it's balanced well and it's not some crazy. Now, if you're trying to make a skeletonized knife for a hiker that is hiking 20 miles with your knife, cool. Make it lightweight. Think about things like that. But you don't need to mess with all of that whenever you're just making an EDC. You're burning through your drill bits, doing all that stuff. I know a guy on Discord that made one that's basically a welder's chip and hammer. Yep. And then I notice you're draining your bevels and you use body rock. Yeah. So whenever I'm doing this and we're grinding with this, okay, I will get my arms comfortable. So 90-degree elbows, both elbows, and get everything comfortable. And I'm just pulling through with my body, okay? So I got really used to doing that because for a long time I did stonework. So I did countertops and different things like that. And I did all of the edges by hand. I ended up buying a router later for it to be able to route them and things like that. But whenever you're removing stone with an angle grinder, you have to get super confident with your body and everything because you can't add more stone onto it. So if you're bullnosing or full rounded or anything like that, you do a whole bunch of this. Round it, round it, round it, and you end up developing a real weird muscle that goes across your wrist right here. You get this like beefed up wrist muscle from having to hold a grinder by its head like this. So you get this muscle and you rock it back and forth. That was a whole muscle that I didn't even know that you could develop until I did that for a few years. Let's see what we got here. Drill holes in the tang for the epoxy. Yep. Yeah, so whenever you're going through and drilling those other holes, that's all I'm basically doing. And so that epoxy can transition from one side to the other. And even sometimes what I'll do is I will drill relief holes into the back side of the handle scales so that the epoxy can go up into them, almost as if they were like a hidden pin. And sometimes if the handle's big enough, I'll put a fuller in the handle, drill one hole in the center of it, put a fuller inside the scales, and then that way you've got pockets of epoxy on both sides of the tang and inside the scales there. And that gives you a real nice bond on those. It depends on the height of the handle though to be able to actually do that. Yep. Forge welding a high carbon bit. You basically, the reason why we use the carbide ball bearings to be able to straighten is because they're going to be harder than your quenched steel. Whenever you're doing that straightening, a lot of the times you're doing that before the temper. Some people, it'd be absolutely terrifying to go through your hardened blade and start hammering on it. But yeah, you'll do it in between the quench and the temper. You can do it after the temper if you want to. But yeah, a lot of us will do it, will hammer it on a quenched blade before the tempering even happens. And you can go ahead and get it straight and then go ahead and do your temper. Although I use some ultralight, I know some ultralight guys, or nuts over ounces, 100%. Like I said, if you're making a knife for a person who is going to use it to hike, then that's when you focus on how thin your blade is, doing a tapered tang, drilling out the whole entire handle, all that stuff. Scandi is just a V on the edge. Hollow is concave. Yes, so like this knife that's right here, that you can see inside here, that is a hollow grind right there. So you can see how the light's reflecting off of it. That's a hollow grind. I wouldn't even call this a Scandi. A Scandi is typically going to be about right there, bevel wise. So you're going to have a bunch of different bevel grinds, but a lot of people who want strong camp knives, they want Scandi grinds, so they can use them to pry and do everything like that. So they'll have a lot of your camp knives are going to be Scandi ground with a real big flat section on the sides. Me personally, I still like a more full flat grind on my camp knives versus a Scandi, just because it's personal preference. I like full flat grinds a lot more than Scandi grinds. Um, but yeah, so and there are a ton of grinds that you can do. There's a saber grind, which would be closer to kind of this side right here, about halfway up bringing the bevels halfway up the side of the blade, and then having this much flats. That's going to be closer to like a saber grind. So you don't hear about that very much. You're going to have as your bevels come up, you're going to have like Scandi, saber. And if you were just going to call three different things, it'd be Scandi, saber, full flat, or almost full flat. Are going to be like your different heights coming up the actual side of the blade. If you have full flat grinds, you can get away with thicker spines. Absolutely. That is one of the reasons why I do them, because a lot of my camp knives are in between a 3/16 and a 1/4 inch blade. Some of them are full blown 1/4 inch blades, and they'll typically have about a 6 inch long cutting edge, so a 6 inch long blade, which is, this is an 8 inch knife. The blade on that knife is going to be about that long. So I'll show you. A lot of my camp knives are going to have a blade about that long right there. They're going to be nice thick spine. Of course, this is one of my Brute to Forge ones, but you're going to have a good almost full flat on this. Now, of course, that's all forged right there, but you can see how long this blade is compared to this whole entire knife. So most of my camp knives are going to be about that long. They're going to have a nice confident hook on the back side right here, and they're going to have a lanyard. That's just a comfortable, whenever you need to chop something, knife, you need to slice something, you need to feather stick something, you need a good thicker tip. It's not super thin, so that if you need to pop something open or do anything like that, you can do that. These are all 80 CRV2, so there's 5 of these that I made. But I just like a good, comfortable, no complicated handle for my camp knives. I want to just be able to hold it, and it just feels comfortable in the hand. That's this guy right here. Go ahead and put it back over here. Now, of course, I am going to be doing a camp knife version of the new EDC. So this is the new EDC right here. Again, simple handle, simple weight saving holes, nothing complicated. I'm doing one of these that has a handle that's about a 1/2 inch longer. It'll have a lanyard hole. Now this one's going to have a lanyard hole as well, but it'll have a lanyard hole. It'll be about a 1/2 inch longer here, and the blade is going to be about an inch, 1.5 inches longer. So it's going to be a nice, good, full-size knife. It's going to be about a 1/4 inch, like this one is right here. So those are going to be fun. So this is the medium size of the EDC right here. You've seen my EDC that I've been working on. So that's the small, that's the medium. You stack them on top of each other. You see what basically gets added. You get more blade, length, height, and instead of it being a 3 finger, it's a full 4 finger. And then think of the camp knife. It's going to be an extension here and then an extension out here. So there's going to be a small, medium, and large version of those. So a lot of that comes into thinking through how fast I can make them. The faster you can make a knife, the better it is, and the quicker it is that you can actually make money, which as a full-time knife maker, you need to be thinking about. Let's see here. We got if you have a full flat grind, you get thicker spine, or if you have a full flat camp knife with a 16-inch blade, and it's a scalpel. Yep. Especially whenever you do something that is super thin like that. Just for fun though. By the way, what's up, Matt? How you doing? I talk to Matt literally like all day. If y'all have WhatsApp, I'm kind of newer to that, but y'all can always message me on there. I'm on WhatsApp, and I've always found that kind of interesting because like every Middle Eastern person who's ever tried to scam me has always tried to give me their WhatsApp so that they could try and scam me in my channel. But I talked to Odysseer, Mr. Pinto, and from the podcast, and Matt through there as well. Have you ever tried a folding knife? I have not done a folding knife yet. So I am waiting until I get my mini mill to start messing with folders. I know that I could do a friction folder if I wanted to, and I might do that on the channel. I've got a lot of folders because I was a knife collector for a very long time, and I could easily reverse engineer one of them and figure out what I want bearing wise and all that stuff. I could figure that out. I've got so many that I could take apart and reverse engineer. Did a friction folder a bit ago. I've got another on the way. Yeah, I think I'm going to end up doing, I will do a friction folder on the channel. I'm going to end up doing two. So I'm going to do one that's like pocket knife size, and then I want to do one of those friction folders that has like a 5-inch blade. And I think that'd be pretty cool. And remember, so the knife that we're going to be working on, not starting this next Tuesday because I've got a whole bunch of knives to finish and get on the website. So I'm going to focus on those for the next week and a half. And then the next Shop Talk Tuesday series starts the Arkansas toothpick with the D-guard that's going to be the giveaway knife. I say giveaway knife, it's going to be like a short sword. So that's going to be the giveaway build that I'm going to end up doing. And then after that, I'm going to be working with Steve Jennings, a billet that he sent me of Damascus, big old chunky son of a gun. I'm going to be forging that into an integral chef's knife. And I say integral chef's knife. It's going to be like an integral chef's fighter knife. That's going to be a cool profile. I got the idea for the profile from Neil Kamamura. If you've ever seen any of his chef's knives and his different knives that he makes, it's going to be a Neil Kamamura inspired chef's knife, integral bolster, insanity build. And yeah, I can't wait to do the way that I'm going to do it is think of the blade being kind of like the double-bladed dagger that I did, that Darth Maul dagger that I did for the dagger challenge. The bevels are going to be like that. So it's going to be forged center. Well, the whole entire blade's going to be forged, but the center of it is going to have all the forging texture, and they're going to have nice, crisp satin bevels going up to the tip. And it is going to be a short sword. It's going to be probably about, I'm assuming the blade alone is going to be between 15 and 20 inches. So it's going to be a big knife. And I'm going to do the D-guard more ornate than I did the last D-guard. So it's going to be cool. I thought about doing a coffin handle, but I got to make sure it makes sense within the D guard. Doing a coffin handle profile. I'd want to do more of a faceted handle on this one, so I might do something like that. Uh, I also might do a frame handle as opposed to a regular handle. So I might do a frame handle and do. I've got some Damascus cutoffs. I might do a Damascus frame and have the pins all the way around it and all that. I haven't decided 100%. Whoever gets this knife is going to get a badass knife. It's going to be really, really cool. And it's crazy that it's going to be a giveaway knife because it's going to be probably like a $1,200 to $1,500 knife when it's all said and done. And someone's just going to get it for free just for subscribing and doing the thing that I say. Eventually, I will do some giveaways on some of my bigger stuff. So I've got a few big intricate builds that are going to be coming up in 2024, and I'm thinking that what I'll end up doing on those is I'll either raffle them or I will do it one of those things where it's like merch related. It's where you buy a hat or a mug or a shirt. And by the way, this is one of my shirts. So we got this logo and the back logo and all that. And these are like super lightweight. You're comfortable in the shop wearing them. They're a little bit longer, so you don't have to worry about bending over and people seeing your butt crack. Things like that. You know, they fit a shirt like a shirt should fit a man. You could tuck them in, everything like that. But I might tie it to the website or something like that, where you know you buy a shirt and you get X amount of entries, or you buy a mug, you get X amount of entries, and then you'll be able to win like a $1,500 to a $2,000 knife. So it'll be pretty cool, and it'll be a custom build that I never make again. Whatever knife I do for the giveaways will be 100% one of a kind, custom. I'll never make it again. So whoever gets it is going to have the only one in existence. And these are knives that you could like, you know, do antler chops on them and shave with them and stuff like that. It's not like just a showpiece. If you want to show somebody what it's like to, you know, cut half your tree down and then shave with it, that's the type of knife you're going to get. So, yeah, Matt, you've got a couple. I'm trying to think. I think that's about it. So basically, all I got to do now is heat treat this puppy. So what I'll probably go ahead and do is I will drill the pinholes and all that stuff tomorrow and go ahead and heat treat it. And then tomorrow night, what we'll probably do is either finish cleaning this up or I'm going to end up forging another knife because I've got one that I kind of want to mess with, and I've got a few more that I need to go ahead and forge out for the website. So we'll play that by ear and we'll see what happens tomorrow night. I also have a daily vlog that's coming out tomorrow. It's actually the video where I ground the bevels and all that stuff, and I broke that stuff down for the smaller EDCs. So we're going to have that. I think the episode's only going to be like 10 minutes long, so it's not a super long video. And then I've got another one that's going to be coming out, working with taking one of those and doing the handle on it. So it's going to be a video just dedicated to mounting and shaping and profiling the handle and explaining all that stuff. So you'll be able to see that as well. But other than that, I think we're pretty much good to end it here. We got a lot done, hour and 14 minutes. And I'm going to go inside and rest for a little bit. It's been a long day. Do a little bit of training for my my little practice job that I'm working on right now, doing life insurance, getting certified for that so that I can help people get life insurance that are my friends and family and stuff. Life insurance is a huge thing. If you've ever cut your ankle open, passed out, and thought you were going to die from a hatchet wound and realized that you had no life insurance and your family was going to, you know, especially when you're the main breadwinner, and your family's going to have to pay for a whole funeral and all that stuff. Yeah, it makes you second guess your priorities and crap like that. But yeah, don't cut your ankles. Don't hop on one foot all the way around your yard. Make yourself bleed out, and then pass out on the way to the emergency room. Don't do it. It's not fun. Yeah. So, with all that aside, the whole point behind me doing the life insurance is so that I can do this, because I will do that from home, and I can still be full-time knife maker, make knives, and then every once in a while hook somebody up with life insurance type deal. Yeah, guys, that's the end of this one. If you would, watch the video that we got releasing tomorrow, and let's go from there. Y'all have a nice day. Y'all stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next video or the next live stream. All right? Thank y'all for participating. Thank y'all for being in that comment section. Thank y'all for doing that, because that makes these worthwhile. Yes, same time tomorrow night. So today's Wednesday. So tomorrow, yeah, it'll be about 7:30, 7:45. So about the same time as tonight. As soon as my wife gets done with her dance class that she teaches, I will be out here and we'll be working and doing some stuff. All right, Rob. Hey, we're going to be doing it about the same time tomorrow. So if you want to hop on tomorrow and hang out, feel free to do that. But thank you for being here. Thank you for chiming in, and thank you for at least attempting to hang out. I really do appreciate that. You know, again, everybody that comes through and actually talks and hangs out in these make these things worthwhile, and I have a blast doing them. Wish what you'll be bowling. Well, the good news is we're going to have one on Friday, and the other good news is we're going to have one on Saturday. So you have plenty of time to be able to do, you know, be a part of this and come hang out. So it's going to be the same time, Friday and Saturday. Friday is going to be about 7:15, and then on Saturday it's going to be about 7:15. So definitely make sure you come hang out. We're going to be knocking out some stuff and getting some things done. Again, thank y'all for coming out and or logging in and chiming in and talking and doing all that stuff. Y'all have an amazing day. Stay safe. Catch y'all next time.